Hello everyone, and welcome to Against the Storm, a new roguelite city builder from Arrowmite Studios and Hooded Horse, which is launching into early access at the 1st of November on Steam. And they were so kind to provide me with a preview version of the game. The game itself is combining two of my favorite game genres, roguelite and city building. Basically a mix of Anno meets Against the Spire, and I'm absolutely adoring it. But the game is more complex than it looks at first, and I wanted to give you 10 tips that I would have liked to have when I first played the game. So, in each run of the game, you start building your own little city, and resources and workers have to be managed, and that can be a bit tedious. You have to click your little buildings and then assign workers here, but they gave you a lovely little interface that you can enter that makes that all easier. And that you can access with the Alt key, where you then can assign workers from up here into the slots at where you want them to be. Different species you can assign from up there as well. Like if you want to have the humans in the woodcutter or in the farms, you can do that as well. Unassign here as well by just pressing the Alt key, and that is super helpful because you can do more macro management quicker. Similar thing if you press the Control key for controlling your production of goods. For example, if you don't want to have them harvest any more of this fiber, you can unclick that here. You don't want to make them any more of these bricks. You can either do it here or just click Control and unclick it here, so that they don't produce any more bricks. They don't use up any more of your clay, which you might want to use for other processes. Really helps you out in getting through the game quicker. Alt and Control, nice quality of life in the game for sure. Another really cool thing is all these baseline harvesting things. You don't have to rebuild and destroy them every time you run out of stuff around them. Like these woodcutters, for example, they cut all this wood here and then they would be out of wood. But if you press the M key or the button up here, you can move them around for free and place them in new, for example, closer to the forest over here. Or the harvester station over here can do the same once they run out of fabrics over here, for example. And you might have new fabrics discovered elsewhere. You can move them easily as well. You don't have to rebuild them, don't have to destroy them. So that is a nice quality of life thing as well. And then we come to the win condition. The win condition of the game for each run is to get the reputation bar filled before the Queen's Impatience has grown to the maximum. And the basic line of how you do it is by fulfilling orders. They all give you one reputation, and whenever you fulfill them. And if you fulfill them all, you usually win the game. But you can't always do that. Sometimes you don't get missions that are really fulfillable for you in this run because you don't have the right buildings, you don't have the right resources on the map to do it. But there's other ways as well. And the most common way is getting your population happy enough. And the indicator for this is this little blue icon up here on the left next to them. When their happiness or their resolve rises over this blue level, they will give you a bit of reputation per minute that you hold it above that blue marker. So getting if you see your map doesn't have everything to get your orders, the first orders should always be solvable, but the later ones might not be. Try to consider making your people even more happy. Happiness obviously always important, but try to really go for it so that you can raise the M above the blue level and get the reputation you need for it that way. One way of doing that is with better food, and food consumption is relatively simple as well. Sadly, it is not directly indicated how much food is consumed every minute up here, but the baseline indicator is that every race or every one of your pops does a break all 2 minutes and consumes 1 food when they are going back to the center of the map. So you basically consume 0.5 food per minute per population. So for example, with 11 people, I consume 5.5 food per minute, which is a nice calculation to do to figure out how much food you have left before you run out. Yeah, something that the indicator here sadly doesn't give you yet. Hopefully within early access, food consumption will get shown a bit better than it does at the moment. At the moment, at least you have an indicator if it's going up or down, but a bit more numbers here could be nice. One thing that differentiates though is if you have special foods, and for the race wants to eat, for example, pickled foods and pies for the lizards, they will eat both at the same time. That will make them happier, but you will consume more food unless you forbid them to eat them. So that is the one thing that might raise the food consumption higher than 0.5 per minute. Those are the 2 things there to keep in mind. And then another thing is paths are all around buildable for free, but they're also not really necessary. They increase the speed of your population by 5%, but your pops don't need them to move. So for example, for buildings, which are just there to give them housing, you don't need to build roads everywhere for them. And you might be able to conserve some really valuable space around your hearth by not building roads everywhere to connect every single building. Not every building needs a road. So if you build houses, for example, you can build them stacked on top of each other without having to worry too much about roads. And if you build something really close to the hearth, the 5% extra speed also is not too important. So consider if it's really worthwhile building the path before you build it, or if the space couldn't be used better in another way. And if the building really needs connections to anywhere. Then the next thing is blueprints. Blueprints is the way of how you get more production lines unlocked throughout the game. You get reputation bonuses where you then can pick a new building that you can build, and you get 3 at the beginning of each run that you can choose to get your above the couple of basic buildings that you get from the get-go, like the woodcutter and basic shelter. So there you can choose what kind of goods you want to produce from the beginning, and then you get more throughout the game. And at the beginning, you get them really quickly. You get 1 per reputation, but later on, you don't get them as quickly anymore, as you can see on these little blue dots. And that is something I didn't see at the beginning, and I thought, okay, I get 1 every reputation, because that was how it worked at the beginning. And I thought, okay, then I will have a lot of building options in the beginning, in the end, but it's only 7 or 8 you unlock down here. So in general, you get 11 buildings extra out of this that you can work with. 3 at the beginning and then 8 more. So consider wisely, especially in the later part, which ones you really want to get. You won't get any more easily after that. So if you choose a building that needs a good in front of it at that stage, you better have that already. Otherwise, chances are you won't get that. For example, a tavern that needs beer when you can't produce beer beforehand might be a bit useless if you can't get that through this. So the blueprints here, really important. And the way of how you get your city to grow and keep the limit in mind. Then the next part is the trader, where you can get blueprints sometimes if you have an eye open on it. If you really need a blueprint badly, always check the trader down here. They might sell blueprints. They also sell other perks here, so that is quite nice. And then the one button here that was really intriguing to me from the beginning, but I didn't quite know what it was doing, is the attack the trader button. And that one, you should choose wisely if you really want to do it, because it gives you quite a lot of benefits. It gives you a random percentage of the trader's goods. It doesn't really tell you what it does when you do it here. It just tells you it has repercussions. And the repercussions are pretty tough. It kills some of your population that are dying and fighting the trader. And it's also increasing the queen's impatience. So you will have less time afterwards for the run. And obviously, it will lead to less traders coming to your village afterwards, and them coming in bigger steps in between. So attacking the trader, really, really risky. And then the last thing has to do with the big campaign map, where you can see this bar down here, and that is leading to the next storm. That's the name of the game, Against the Storm, that it will come eventually. And when the storm comes, everything but the smoldering city, the center part of the map, will get erased and reshuffled. So go for these question marks quickly, especially in the later runs when you can get a bit further out because you have upgraded your smoldering city further. But even at the beginning, it's worthwhile focusing in one direction instead of building all around the smoldering city one by one, so that you can unlock these question marks and see what special things are there from the get-go. Don't try to surround the smoldering city. Try to check out where the most question marks are and push for there, because the storm will come, and if you just build around, you won't have any time to get out to these question marks. So use that to get there and get out. And I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any more questions, leave them down below and let me know what you think about the game so far. And I hope to see you all in the next time. If you want to see more, consider subscribing, consider leaving a like, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye, and have a great day.